Welcome to another Motortown post-event racing commentary. We are going to see the Lobo Ludicrous speed event today, which is a one-make race for the new Lobo semi-truck. I love this thing, maybe more for racing than actual truck stuff, but it's kind of amazing in its own right. Really high top speed due to the low drag and all of that. A lot of grip and also a bit trickier at points, which we are going to see and talk about later down the line. A few things up ahead. First up, this is the first event where we actually use the new event tools. So we have checkpoints, we have a proper starting countdown, which is also going to keep our vehicle in place. We have automated positioning on the leaderboard to the left. It's a lot of cool stuff, even allowing the event hosts themselves to just participate in the event now. Beforehand, in the older events, chefs who usually host the stuff just had to stay on the sidelines, watch that everybody stays on track, follows the route, and also keep track of positioning. The game now does everything itself, which is amazing. Another thing though, just about half an hour before the event started, we went from the testing version of the new update to the finalized one. We can see here on the top 0.7.8, no more T1, T2, T3, T4, whatever. This is now the final update and I have thoughts on that. I'll make a dedicated video to talk about this in detail. But to get this off my chest right now, in order for me to not go insane, or at least not more than I am already, I have mixed feelings. The new stuff is amazing, it is a good step forward and I'm happy that we got it. However, there's so much potential left on the table here that it's also a bit of a shame and I wish they just took more time with it. There are more features that could and maybe should have been implemented. And with how past events or with how past updates went, there is a good chance that they will just move on to something completely different now and this won't see any more updates for the foreseeable future. Which is a shame, but yeah, what can we do about it? Anyways, time to jump into the race. Let's get started. There are going to be 4 races in total. 3 races with this vehicle and then another bonus race right after. And yeah, we are just waiting here for the starting procedure, which should come in any moment. There it is. Countdown up here. And right away I need to make you guys aware of one particular thing. Keep an eye on proper KitKat over here and that pedestrian in front of them. For some reason, some of these guys now have solid hitboxes and they don't budge. And this is what happened here. KitKat, of course, expecting to just drive through them, as apparently now on the second hit worked out fine. Everybody else is trying to get through the carnage, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Off to maybe not the best start, but yeah, here we go. Finally through the carnage, or should I say semi-truckage in this case. And yeah, this track is going to be quite the long one, 2 laps between basically the industrial sector over here in the northeast of Jeju Island and also parts of Jeju City. So we are going around the YD North Road here and then into the city itself. To talk a bit more about the truck, it's kind of interesting with how sturdy it is. I can easily go over bumps here, just going on the sidewalk, really not having much of trouble with anything here. I also made sure to raise my truck so that it has more clearance, making all of this a bit easier and more reliable. But yeah, it doesn't have any problems with bumps and that kind of stuff, which makes it much more stable than the average car in this game. It also just has all the grip in the world, until at some point it just doesn't and completely loses control. Brakes are a bit iffy and hard to judge. They seem pretty strong, but well, not compared to any car that's much lighter. I sometimes forget with how well this thing handles that is actually a very heavy vehicle. So in the braking zones you are going to see me struggle here and there. Also, when it comes to the checkpoints, I just go by GTA rules, and that's basically, yes, of course you have to go through the checkpoints, but everything you do in between them is really fair game. Also, somebody went off the road there, and I'm just coming through here, passing two people. This is all, that intersection that I just went through is also a crossover section, by the way. We are going to loop back around and cross over that the other direction in a moment. And yeah, this is what I meant with braking issues. I kinda got stuck in the ditch there, so I decided to reset myself. Always trying to leave space for anybody else. I don't want to just end up resetting myself onto their noses, so to speak. But yeah, the guy behind me just had some issues on their own, so I decided to reset in front of them anyways. Usually I try to let anybody pass that I can see on the resetting screen, but that kind of requires that they actually do pass. And yeah, here we come back around to cross over that intersection again. Once again behind Steven. 7th place is not too great, but it kind of works out. And there's still a lot of potential to get a better position, but also potential for mistakes. Again, the vehicle really handles amazingly well, takes corners like no problem at all, until you overdo it and it suddenly snaps out. And a lot of people are going to have their fair share of issues here, so as you can see up front, Steven spun out, and that can just happen very quickly. So there's always potential for the race to completely go a different way than you would expect. And yeah, a few more people right up ahead of me. I mean, 200 meters away it's not that much, but it's also after a very slow corner, so I'm trying to keep up. And yeah, we're gonna have to see about it if I can catch up again or if I fall back and make mistakes. But yeah, the race is far from over and far from decided. There's also, I think, an NPC coming up on the right here in a corner or two. I think it's in the next one. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid them. I kinda need to go close to them because, well, that's where the apex of the corner is. But I don't want to risk anything. And yeah, coming back towards the industrial area. Some people having slight issues there, and I'm trying to get back to them, take advantage. Having a beautiful overtake on the outside, also almost swinging out my back there. The thing about this truck is it doesn't like drifting. If you lose traction on the rear and start a power slide, drift, whatever, you are going to slow down a lot. As I did over here, this is not a fast maneuver, as the guy behind me just showed me by overtaking me and just running away from me like nothing. Also, another thing I would like to mention at this point, this paint job is not my own. I downloaded it from the workshop. Milk actually made this one, and what can I say, there are a lot of decal work, artwork kind of things made by Milk on the workshop, and it's all looking fantastic. Theoretically I could just stop making my own and take stuff from them. It's just, it's so good. But yeah, after this event I actually came up with an idea for my own livery, and I only managed to get it done right before recording this video, so that's a bit late for the event, but hey, I still like doing my own stuff. So for the next event with this car, it's going to be on there. And yeah, I'm slightly struggling with some of the checkpoints here and the roads and all of that, but in the end, with how easygoing the truck is over any bumps, Not really too much of an issue. But I'm trying to not overdo it because that could also end up with me spinning out. And yeah, back on the faster section, going back to Jeju City right here. Feeling a lot more confident about those flower banks as well, since they have been lowered and reworked to not be that deadly anymore. And yeah, this is one of my favorite areas here because there should be more checkpoints, keeping me from doing exactly what I'm doing here, although I gotta say, this was a bit more luck-based than anything else. The telegraph pole, or whatever that's supposed to be, it definitely helped me get back on track and not completely lose control. Without it, I would have likely spun out, but as is, I think it was a very efficient, if not risky, maneuver. And yeah, this time around, I'm a bit more careful around the braking point here. Still no idea where exactly the braking point for this vehicle should be, but, well, at least I'm not completely missing it anymore. And yeah, thankfully there doesn't seem to be any takeouts through the crossover section. I'll be looking to the left here in horror, just hoping that nobody approaches, and thankfully I made it through. But in the end, what can you do? This is really much nicer for the flow of the track. Instead of just going straight to the left here, the little loop around Jeju definitely adds quite a lot of stuff there. And yeah, coming back up to the Haunted Mansion. I hope this time around we'll also get the Halloween event. I didn't get this stuff last time, because last year it just didn't happen for some reason. I think that was also when the team was trying to implement Unreal Engine 5, so that might have been screwing up with some things. But this time around I hope I get the option to get the cosmetic and all of that. But yeah, the race is coming to a close in a moment. First guy already at 96% of the way through, so should be there in a checkpoint or two. Scatman having another little issue over here. I am definitely just going to take advantage of that. And yeah, Chess is also pretty close by, just in front of me. And yeah, people are just, apparently they got into a bit of a battle or some accident there, because I'm now just catching up to a lot of them. And yeah, I'm also just overdoing it because I tried to capitalize on the situation, but there was likely not all that much I could have done to begin with. I wasn't fast enough to fully close in on them, and at this point I think it's more about keeping my position, not screwing up the braking point here again and having Scatman overtake me like the last lap, because I would very much like to stay in 5th, which is overall a pretty good position. And there's, yeah, that's Scatman behind me. Also, stop. This is also pretty interesting. Mr. Wang, the main developer of this game. So this is another reason why I mentioned before the race began that the update came out, because Mr. Wang has a little bit of a habit of checking out the event and seeing what the community thinks once it comes out. And this time around he decided to join us in our racing event, sadly being a bit late for the first race, but from now on the rest of the races he's going to participate, and yeah, let's see how that all goes. Second race is Ollering. So we are starting at the heavy duty dealership again, and this is just a race around the whole ring road, so not really turning off from this road at any point. Long race, one singular lap, and with this truck I'm actually quite confident. There are a lot of choke points around the track here, but this truck is a bit more sturdy, so it should be able to deal with that a bit more easily. And yeah, Mr. Hwang being right behind me. And we now are up to like, I think 12 vehicles on track. Yeah, some people again having a few issues there. I don't know if Zeki even got the checkpoint. Apparently not. So they are just racing along with us, but they are kind of out of a race at this point. And I think they just noticed. So yeah, some of the checkpoints could maybe be a bit wider to avoid these kind of issues. But that's something that you have to do in text editing, so that's not always that easy. That's another whole thing that I wish the update got taken care of beforehand. Because doing stuff in text is kinda not amazing, but yeah, it is what we have to do if we want to improve the race text further than what we can just by placing the checkpoints in-game. So yeah, starting out is pretty similar to the other track, just going through these roads here and towards Lilu City. Again, my favorite part to slightly abuse the track limitations here. I was actually thinking for a moment of just going straight. But yeah, I decided to stick with this road for obvious reasons, and I ran into the back of Steven, who had a slightly bigger accident here. Getting slowed down, but at least I didn't take any significant damage. So still in the race, but in a slightly worse position than before. Again, still in 5th. But I definitely lost a lot of ground to the people in front of me by being so slow for a while. But there are a few more tricky corners and everything is back in order. I'm also catching back up to Mr. Hwang. And also I think Steven right in front of him. And yeah, I decided to just burst through the dividers and get a better exit on that corner, granting me another position, so I should be up in 4th now. Again, the position only updates once we go through checkpoints, so with checkpoints being a bit sparse on this route, it's just gonna take a while for that to take effect. And if I remember correctly, this is going to be a bit more tricky here. So Steven and I, we both go through the left, and yeah, I'm just gonna stop here. There's this car in the oncoming lane. Both of us are trying to avoid it on the left, and let's rewind a little bit. Because this thing came kind of out of nowhere for me. I mean, okay, I just didn't know what to do here, and then I slightly slammed it into the guardrail, hitting both my engine and the radiator, causing a bit of damage there, and this is tricky now. I cannot really rely on the truck anymore as much as I could before, so I decided to just go for earlier upshifts in order to avoid the whole thing overheating and slowing me down quite a lot through that. At this point I'm also just considering all the repair shops up ahead on the track. There is one coming up at a truck dealership here, but it's kind of quite far off the track, so I decided to not go for it. The next one would be at the Olle racetrack, also very far off track, and yeah, just running into another issue. Steven once again having a bit of an accident there, reversing back onto track, and I couldn't avoid him. I mean, in the end, there wasn't really much else for them to do. I think he could have maybe gone a bit more forward, but then potentially also getting stuck there. And yeah, here, due to me being slower after the incident, Chess tries to go on the inside, slightly misses the breaking point, but yeah, it doesn't result in another incident. We just almost went into the flower pots. Another bus coming up for Matt, and Steven are also overtaking. Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that at this point, but what can I do? I'm now having to slow down in order to keep the radiator happy and not overheat the engine. Also, Mr. Wang and Steven getting into a bit of battle up ahead. And yeah, this would have been the second option to repair, but at this point I'm pretty set on just going to the repair shop in Gangyang, which is right next to the road. Also almost overtook Mr. Hwang because of his radiator damage that he apparently took at some point. But it wasn't really enough with me upshifting, and yeah, I'm just kind of falling behind because I'm not in optimal rev range anymore. But yeah, I'm just trying to carry it to the repair shop now. According to the leaderboard, we are about at the 50% mark, just slightly over it now. So there's still a good ways to go, making it worthwhile going for the repair. And I'm just gonna have to carry it up until this point. Up until then, and just trying to keep up. But looking at some of the issues that people have been facing, we have Mr. Wang turned around to the left. We have Goleador, I hope I pronounced it correctly, upside down. And me just going into the repair shop now because I think that's still worth it with around 40% of the track still left to go. So just quick repair, trying to back out, getting slightly caught on the on the garage door there because, well, the front overhang on this vehicle is immense. But it worked out pretty well, and I'm just hoping to be able to catch back up and yeah, just make the repair worthwhile by being faster than the other slightly damaged vehicles now. I'm basically taking Mr. Wang as a measuring stick here. If I can catch back up to them, or to him, I mean, that should be pretty good on my end there. And for the time being, it looks like it was the right choice, but there are a few more slight issues. I felt the need to avoid whatever was going on in front of me. Let's rewind real quick. I know it looked like they were going to slow down even more. Weird drift by Mr. Wang might be a slight desync thing. And I just tried to avoid him and yeah, ended up doing this maneuver. So again, slight damage, doesn't really matter too much because it's just chassis. But the problem is I've fallen back again, so this is not amazing. But yeah, at least I don't need to actively manage my engine temperature. And yeah, there's also quite a fast section ahead, so this definitely was worthwhile just trying to go for the repairs. I think looking at the issues that I've been facing and another one coming up, and this is just really more of a driving error than anything else. Also, where did that pole come from? I think it might have been left over by somebody else. Ah, it's just lying up in front there. I couldn't really tell, and I think that may have tripped me up in addition to what was going on already. But honestly, let's imagine two versions of this race. One where I just tried to stick through it with the engine and radiator damage to the end, and one where I did exactly what I did here. Assuming that in both versions I run into the same issues, hitting the side of the bridge there, getting spun out at that point, I think repairs definitely still had me go faster. I think I made up the time again that I lost through going into the repair shop. But still, the rest of the race didn't really work out, so there's definitely that as well. I think I might actually still catch up with somebody, although now people are now a kilometer ahead of me, so that's definitely quite far away. But yeah, I'm still going at a decent pace if I don't run into any issues, so it's working out in a way. And this is actually a bit of a more tricky maneuver, but I thought, hey, I have the handling, there should be space on the right, and it turned out to work out quite well. Mr. Wang being, yeah, right in front of me again there. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, I remember what happened to me last time in the last event race on that exact point. So there are definitely ways that the game can screw you over. I was really just aiming to get to him as best as I could, and I completely ran the car into the outside wall there. I just wanted to take the corner way too quickly, and I mean, I could have maybe come in behind Mr. Wang a bit closer, but yeah, overtaking was definitely out of the question there. But here we are. The race is over. 9th position. And what can I say? Overall, and I'm gonna quickly pause this video right now. I'm not the biggest fan of the so-called Olle Ring, just going around the entire ring road. It's a classic, but it has a lot of issues in my opinion. It can easily cause a lot of problems for the drivers, and they will be driving around the track for a long time before they can get to any repairs. So I think there would be better routes, but this thing is a classic, and with this vehicle in particular, it worked out quite well because it's just a lot more stable than others and doesn't get tripped up that easily. That out of the way, we now go into the final race. Or at least of the main event. And yeah, this is a short track around the landfill. And we are now up to, I think, 12 vehicles here. I actually lent out my second Lobo. I actually have 2 of them. This one for racing, the other one tuned more for semi-trucking. Neither of them really good for semi-trucking. I still need to do a bit more fine-tuning. But yeah, somebody else wanted to participate, and at least I could give them a vehicle that has the full engine upgrades and everything. Even if the suspension might be for a different thing. But yeah, we go around the landfill, I think for 10 laps. So this is gonna be quite the interesting one. Short track, lot of laps. Quite the different setup from everything else that we've done so far. And this thing is half on dirt, half on tarmac. Although with how the checkpoints work out, the tarmac is more of suggestion than anything else. Going wide after the intersection there definitely helped out quite a bit, and I'm going to do that maneuver multiple times. But yeah, the vehicle gets really tricky once you hit the dirt patch, especially since it's in the middle of a corner. So already spun out, but we can see somebody else in front of me is also having issues, and yeah, this is going to be the theme for the entire race. It's absolute truckage again. Goleador once again also kinda struggling to keep control. And you're also going to see through the race that a few people even go right into the landfill itself. And yeah, second lap I tried staying on the inside, I hit the tree and this one. I was aiming so hard to at least get to the checkpoint after the lamp here, but it just didn't work. The tree was really keeping me from doing anything there. So I had to back out again, and I caught it just on the second attempt, but I'm now way down in the positions. But with this being absolute carnage and somebody even going down into the landfill right there, as I promised somebody would. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities to make up positions again. Some people out in the dirt, I decided to join them off track because, well, I'm social like that. Definitely not lost control over the vehicle. I've actually done a dirt race with this thing already, and it seems like that dirt section in the landfill or around the landfill is just a bit more rough than the quarry. Because in the quarry this thing handles like a charm, but as it is right now on this track, it's really tough. Once again, I think I'm in last position pretty much. But yeah, there are still quite a few laps left to go. I think we are on the fourth lap now. And yeah, I'm just gonna go wide here. If they want to keep me on the track, they should have just put down a checkpoint there. I think with other vehicles it's maybe less cut and dry, where you want to stay on the tarmac. But with this one, it doesn't really matter. The outside is smooth, so the outside is the way to go here. Also nice being able to avoid a few issues around here. And yeah, once again, first corner being a bit spicy. I just managed to keep the car going kind of straight. At least keep the front facing forward. So yeah, I'm pretty much back in the race, and there's another guy going into the landfill. Again, our lead developer leading the charge into the trash bin basically. Oh yeah, and I think this is the lap where actually Mr. Wang also sadly, what can I say? Okay, we need to revisit this. I know this is kind of a gruesome scene and I'm very sorry. My condolences to Mr. Wang's family because he just got absolutely murdered. This is an absolute travesty, and yeah, I'm so sad for what happened here. And I'm also sad to announce that this might be the final update for the game as a whole, because as of now, I don't know if he will ever recover from this. Rest in peace there. And Scatman apparently being a hired assassin, maybe from another game, which also might be sending in the bus now. Yeah, we're about to get into some traffic issues here, because the game suddenly decided to put in just some traffic cars right here. Another guy going over the barrier up in front. It's just all around madness. We also have a limousine tanker up in front. I don't think that's ever going to do a full lap. I think that's about to get horribly spun out as well. Or at least the other guys did, and I just managed to take advantage. Go up in positions a little bit. Local man on the outside there with actually my other Lobo. The red one, that's actually mine. And yeah, just another few laps to go. We are also getting into nighttime here. See how that works out for us. And yeah, the bus just making its way around. The limousine semi apparently, or the tanker got tilted. Don't think that's ever gonna recover from that. And I of course hit the light right here. Also then got re-ended by Scatman. I don't think he could have avoided the light if I wasn't there. For a moment I thought I was actually stuck there, but then I noticed that the other vehicle is still going. Didn't get high centered. Centered on the front and back. So I'm still good to go. Few more positions down, but might get them back after all, depending on how things go. Anonymous coming in from the rear and just doing a bit of an aggressive maneuver. They don't even seem to be part of the event. At least they are not on the list there. They don't seem to have a number on top of them. There might be some weird thing going on. And yeah, just a full-on traffic jam right there. And I'm just jamming myself in there, just trying to somehow get through. And yeah, it just it doesn't really go well. Mr. Wang is wedging me into the sidewall there, and I barely managed to escape. And at this point there's really no like traffic laws or something. We just try to push through, and if we can do, we take a few positions in the meantime. I may have also, after this whole incident, just asked him outright, how about maybe adding the option to turn off traffic? I think this is a good case for that being a necessary feature. But I will have to see what comes of that. So the first few people are actually already finishing, but I've been lapped by some of them. So yeah, I just have to go through another lap. And as to be expected, it won't be a smooth one. And getting overtaken by Becky again. But I think I should be safe from the people behind me because they are a bit further down the line. I just need to make sure that I don't make any more mistakes on the last few corners here. So I'm really slow and careful around the last few bits here, just to keep my position, be on the safe side and not do anything stupid. I, for some reason, then also decided to go around the lamppost there, and that was a bit of a close shave, but sure. It worked out. We are pretty much done with the main event now, but there's going to be a bonus race. And what can I say real quick after this one? Again, this is just going so much smoother than ever before, so much better. The event feature is definitely a huge improvement, even in its kind of not completely finished feeling state right now. But man, this is definitely going to help out quite a lot in the future. Anyways, on to the last event. Enfo GT versus the new Neo on my rally track, the Quarry Quarrel. Yeah. I was just kind of blanking on the name for a moment. And also I blanked on a whole nother thing because I have two Neos at this point. One of them set up for rally racing, so higher suspension setup, bit softer and all of that, more downforce I think as well, fully widened wheelbase and everything. But I thought for this race this one would be better, because the dirt is so smooth I don't need the extra ground clearance, and as long as I don't go off track I don't need a softer suspension. One difference that I didn't consider though, the other car has actual off-road tires, and those would have been very handy here. But yeah, I went with regular road tires, so it's going to be extra drifty over here. Also, the other vehicle has a stock turbo instead of the stage 1. So the stock one is still an upgrade, it's not what just comes with every engine, but it is an aftermarket part. The difference is that it doesn't have the peak power, but it activates way sooner, so if you are kind of just drifting through a corner, you are getting the full effect of the turbo way earlier. But yeah, I went with this car, and as soon as I realized the whole off-road tire thing, I immediately regretted it. Also, I should probably at some point still widen a few checkpoints here and there. I was still hoping on an in-game way to do so, because once it gets to the fine-tuning, once you start, well, if I want to widen the checkpoints, I may also need to move them, so that they don't just overhang on the cliffside in one direction and don't touch the wall on the other. But yeah, I just need to do some fine-tuning, and I wanted to do so with a better set of tools, because for the more precise stuff, it actually gets more annoying having to do so in text editing. But yeah, we didn't get any better tools. The update is out now. I could still hope for maybe getting a 0.78.1 update, 0.2, whatever, and getting a few more features, but that hasn't been the case with the last few updates either. Or at least not for the very last one. I don't know about the ones beforehand. But yeah, I get the feeling that the dev wanted to get this out and be it a one and done thing. So they might come back to this at some point later down the line, but right now I don't have really any expectations. Which is a bit sad. Also what's sad is that I didn't even only just take the wrong tires. I also didn't check them before the race in order to notice that they were about to give out, so yeah, in addition to having a fully damaged chassis right now, I also have tires that are not giving the full grip anymore. So this is all not going too well for me. Also, it's now raining. But hey, in the end, this is just for fun. Nice little race to top it all off with, and yeah, should be alright. But yeah, there's definitely a few more things to be done here. And when I talk about widening the checkpoints, the thing that Becky just did in front of me, like, keep an eye on this guy here. I am not going to accommodate for inside wall riding off the cliff that you're supposed to stay on top of. Like, that's on you, buddy. But yeah, there's a bit of potential to make this track better by improving the checkpoints. I just have to see about it. Also, some of them, like the one after this one right here. I don't think I would be widening this one anymore, at least not too far. Because in the end, I could also just leave it out, but at that point, people are just likely going to cut straight across, and yeah. Some of the checkpoints are there in order to make the corners more interesting, so you can't just completely skip parts. In other games, I would actually wish to have a prop placing system and really just block off the lines that people are not supposed to be using. But with how damage works in this one, I think that could also potentially be very unforgiving. So, I don't know. I think missing a checkpoint here is kind of lesser evil instead of having your entire car wrecked for the rest of the race. But I also wish we had the options to place down some props. But that's really like a high level feature. Checkpoints are already pretty good for what it is. I don't think props would be a realistic expectation, but it's something that would be nice to take it to the next level. But yeah, realistically, I would like to just have the option to turn off traffic and police on the server for event racing. Having a higher checkpoint limit, because 50 is a bit low for longer routes if you want to properly put down the checkpoints for guidance and track limits. In-game track editing, or the checkpoint editing stuff. And I think there was like one more thing going on that I wanted. I don't know right now. Oh yeah, an in-game save system would have been nice. Because right now the only way to save your route is to export it, put it into a text file, and then save that text file separately. I would like for the game to just add another folder to the save files and then put down all the stuff in there. Still keep the easy to read file format, but just make sure that you don't need to manually insert every single track that you want to do. Just be able to have the database that's accessible through in-game means and read them through there. But yeah, what we've gotten is still nice overall, but it's also kinda limited in a way. Also, I'm wondering, sometimes the frame rate looks a bit low. Should be a constant 60, but I may have to check back on my settings. Maybe some update has done stuff there. But in-game it always looks pretty fluent in-game. But this one right now it's a bit choppy in my opinion, at least in different parts here. I don't know. I'll have to check back on that whole thing. But yeah, overall when it comes to the track, I mean there's not really much going on in terms of positions and all of that. I really enjoy this route. The quarry is a great place for rally racing with how the different dirt parts work out, with how wide everything is, and it's just so nice making a route that both has some fast and flowy parts but also some tricky and tighter sections. And I think this is just going pretty well with how everything came together. Also nice to not have to deal with traffic over here. And yeah, we are about to come up on the end of the race. Just a few more hairpins up ahead. And honestly, this hairpin section is the main reason the main part how I started the entire route here. This section was what I wanted to achieve, and everything else kinda came in accordance with that. I always knew that the lower road was going to approach this section from this direction, and that the upper one was also going to go down over here. And I knew that I wanted to climb this section, so everything else was just informed by that choice, and I think it came together pretty well. But yeah, we managed to finish 11. Not the best position, but yeah, I made the wrong choice with the vehicle from the get-go, so what can you expect? Also, I should try and make a better livery for this car. I'm still hoping for, let me quickly get back. I'm hoping we'll get a different kind of side skirt over here. This one isn't paintable, and that's really kind of getting in the way of me doing what I want with this car, because I have a hard time trying to make this look good. But anyways, that's the end for the event over here. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of everything right now. Again, I'll likely make another video talk a bit more about the whole event update stuff on its own. But this is it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. Till then, have a good one and bye bye.